G'day guys, Tillis20 here and welcome back to Marble Mountain. It's been a few weeks since we've done a Marble Mountain episode and I am so keen to be back in this series because we've got some serious building to do and I've got some great ideas for the next few episodes which I'll be sharing with you guys over the next couple of weeks. We've been focusing on Border Town as we've been wrapping up that series, and now that that's all wrapped up, we're back for good in a Marble Mountain and I'm so very much excited to be here. Now, this episode's just a small one because I really just wanted to showcase the Marble Mountain build competition winner, and thank you guys so much for all your submissions. They were incredible. I loved looking at everyone's builds and I found it really tricky to pick the winner because they were all so unique and so interesting. I could have chosen like all of them to be placed somewhere in the series, but I could only choose one, which is a real pain because they were all so good. So I'm going to be going through some of the other entries in this episode. I'll showcase a bunch of them, and I'm also putting them out on Twitter as well. So if you don't follow me on Twitter and you want to see some other builds that were not successful for being the winner, then go and check out my Twitter, which is in the description below. So the winner for this build competition is this bad boy right here, and it's been created by Rude Boy Whatever. And basically he's created this community out in the desert, which is like pretty far away from the capital city. It's pretty far away from anything really, particularly at this point in time when we have no smaller towns around here. And he's created this community called The Crossing, and The Crossing is, and I'm going to read straight from everything that he's, all the information he's given us. The Crossing is a small community which is in the optimal location of the intersection of Maple Road and Harvey Drive, which is this intersection right here. And he says it's 30 minutes outside of the city of Montana, but I think like in the whole story of Marble Mountain, this is like a 3.5 hour drive. It's pretty far away from anything else. He also writes that residents enjoy exclusive access to the world-renowned Quarry Crossing Golf Club, which is a golf club that stretches all the way around this community, which is so unique. But it is also something that I noticed around the Bay area of San Francisco. There's quite a lot of communities that have some of these sort of golf clubs that are really exclusive to these areas. So I thought that actually fits in really nicely. As part of this community, there is a state-of-the-art tiered driving range, which is this driving range here. By the way, my computer is like dying at the moment. I think because I'm recording audio and playing the game. So excuse the frame rate. It's really bad at the moment. We also have a 4-star restaurant and cafe, which is this one right here, and a community swimming pool, which is, this. Now this is something I've never done before, and that's like make like a tiny decline in the ground and then fill it with like just a little bit of water. And when he gave me instructions to do this, that was like a game changer. I'm totally doing that in other things as well. The Crossing boasts several homes backing onto the golf course with spectacular views of Marble Mountain starting from 500,000 and interior homes for 350. So that's these places here. And so these places here have got like the most expensive package, which I can totally understand. Backing onto the golf course would be pretty cool. An expansion to the community, including new lots and an additional 9 holes, is currently pending. He laughed about that when he sent me that message because I think he called it a 9-hole golf course, but there's only 8 at the moment. But we can see there's a bit of expansion going on. So this, this is obviously something that's going to be expanding over time. Our recently established commercial site features a foul oil gas station and convenience store, marketplace, best food service, Morello's Creamery, Flaming Ring Fried Chicken, and Burn Bean Coffee Co., which is this place down here. Can I also just add, like, the line work he's done on the parking lots is something I just don't have patience for. I take my hat off to anyone who has patience to work with these lines. Because I'm not like subscribed to any other lines besides the tiny bike line that you can use from the vanilla game. That's crazy line work right here. So that's really nice. This as well is just like, that's beautiful. The Crossings offers something for everyone looking to escape the hustle and bustle of Montana. Here, the desert beauty surrounds you, providing an idyllic setting for you to call home. So that's a description of the Crossing, and it is really just such a unique build. And thank you guys so much for getting involved with the competition. I really love doing these. I really wish I could have chosen more people to be the winner and have their builds in this game, but I think I just have to do more of these competitions. And if you are interested in being part of any sort of builds, then yeah, just let me know in the comments below. I also offer the Savegame to patrons, and I do invite patrons to come in and build. So quite a lot of the builds in Marble Mountain are already done by people from the community. So if you are interested in that, that's just like an extra bonus. So thank you guys so much for getting involved. I'm going to showcase this a bit more in the cinematics at the end. For today, it's really just a short one because I do already have a video coming out today and not a huge amount of time to do some stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this into the surroundings just a little bit more and change a couple of the roads around here too, and might add some foliage, or maybe even like continue some of these lakes around. I don't know. I'm going to figure that out in just a sec. And then I'm going to go back to Copper Falls to finish off a couple of other things. Alright, let's get into this thing. So, like I mentioned in the live play, this episode's really just like a half episode. I can really just get away with calling it a regular sized episode, but I'm pretty much just using this time to really just showcase some of the other creations people did for the competition, and just to extend my thanks to those guys, because it really was a lot of people put a lot of work into those builds. So thank you guys so much. What I'm going to be doing in this time lapse is mostly just filling this area where basically the desert meets this mountainside and goes into a little bit more of a temperate landscape. So I just wanted to add in some mountains, because mountains are actually a really great way to make that transition, and it's actually not totally unrealistic too, because quite often mountains will then create a different type of landscape, and I think it works really nicely. So yeah, definitely not finished in this area, gonna come back. So I'm going to take this time now to talk about some of the builds that people entered into the competition. We actually had a whole bunch of town entries, which I think was probably a really good fitting build for this particular spot. And it's really cool to see like a huge variation of towns too, even though it's not like a massive space and there's only like a certain amount of styles you can do these sort of towns in, but they're actually really quite varied. And a couple of them just had some extra special features like this prison, and there was also a mining town, and we also had a town that had an airport in it, which I know a lot of you have been hinting towards, and yeah, I thought that was a pretty good idea to place it out in the sticks like this. Speaking of airports, we Cheesem, who's also I believe he's entered into another competition too, created this awesome abandoned airport and yeah, truck stop, and I actually like this build so much. I think I'm gonna choose this to be in another location in Marble Mountain, because it's just too good not to use it, and it's so fitting, and the amount of detail in this is just outstanding. So I think I might send him a message and let him know that he can have his build somewhere else in Marble Mountain. The next build I wanted to talk about is by Timmy02, who created this nuclear power plant, and I think this is probably like the best spot to put a nuclear power plant. We're pretty far away from anything else, and we actually really need a power plant too. We only have the wind turbines on the mountain, which are gradually increasing, even though I do plan to, you know, knock down a whole bunch of them and have a bit more of a stable power supply somewhere else, because that mountain's sort of running out of space. So this probably would have been a good idea to choose something like this. Or we might even end up building something similar, because I do really like this idea. The next build I wanted to talk about is by Khalil, and it's a town called Ripley. This town is really well structured. I really love the way that he's done the whole road layout, and really jam-packed a lot of this town into what is quite a small area. And it also looks like it's gone to a fair bit of detail too, which is really quite cool. And I think the town name Ripley is, I think maybe we might need to have a town out this way called Ripley, because I do really like it. And keeping on the same theme of a town, really love this one by Phil Diaz. He's done this really cool technique to create this motel, which I'm totally going to use. These are actually growable houses, and the way he's clipped them together is just like such a great idea. So totally taken that idea, dude, because it's really fantastic. And again, a lot of detail in the town, which was really cool to check out in all these screenshots that he uploaded. And the last build I wanted to highlight was by Sweet Sea, which was a correctional facility for youth, and it also had a town as well, which I thought is still a really great idea. And I think the theme of a correctional facility and a jail being out this way is something I'm going to end up putting in, because I've actually never put in a jail in any of my builds, and I think a build like that would be really iconic for maybe a small town out this way. So thank you guys so much for all your entries. They've been really quite inspiring, and I've learned a lot from your builds too. And I would really like to extend my welcome to anyone who wants to share any of your screenshots or builds, particularly in Marble Mountain. I'd love to see what people are doing with the map. My Discord server is probably the best place to do that, and we've got a general discussion or off-topics discussion too. So if you want to hit me up on Discord and join the server, I'm on there. I check it quite regularly. So if you want to show me some of your builds, love to check out what you're doing, because I actually learned a lot from this competition, especially with what you can do with such a small area. And again, a massive thank you to everyone who entered into the competition. It was a lot of fun, and it's really nice having something that's not my own creation in Marble Mountain. So yeah, definitely going to do another competition like this sometime soon. So getting back to what I'm doing on screen, I pretty much just been working at these mountains and creating a bit more of a backdrop for this area. And like I said, I'm coming back to this spot. I would like to continue detailing it and continue in the theme of the mountains around this area. Something I might have quickly gone past, you might not have noticed me do, but I ended up placing a park district all the way around where the golf course is, and it pretty much surrounds the entire Crossings residential area. And I thought that would be a pretty good way of keeping a bit more of that realism, see people walking around and actually enjoying the park as it is a district. It also helps to improve the land value around here too, because there's actually at this stage nothing else besides this residential area, and then it's practically desert and mountains. So we will have to get to this area at some stage. It's kind of nice having it there for the time being, but we definitely have to get to this area and start adding in some extra, maybe small towns and things like that. Now I am back in Copper Falls to finish off the campground that I created in my live stream probably about a month and a half ago. Just like a small build, just to add a bit more forest area and a couple other elements to the campground. This is the first campground I've really created, and it's been quite fun to do. I would like to create a few more of these, not just a few more. I want to create a lot more of these around Copper Falls and surrounding all of Marble Mountain, because this particularly outside of the city, there's quite a lot of nature, and I want it to stay that way. I don't really want the whole map to be a city or lots of towns and cities. I want a lot of it to be nature focused. And now that I've finished off this whole riverside of Copper Falls, it's really looking like a complete town. There's a couple more little spots I'm going to focus on, but to be honest, I'm going to be going into the city in the next episode. I'll be working the city for the next few episodes, to be honest, because we're going to do some big changes. We've got some, got some big episodes coming up in Marble Mountain. But that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. Like I said, it's a pretty short one. We're gonna be back in full force in the next week, so look forward to that. If you've enjoyed this episode, then please let me know by leaving a like in the video. Is that what you say? I'm a bit sick at the moment if you can't tell. My nose is super blocked and my brain's all fuzzy, so doing some pretty average commentary on this one, but yeah, all the stuff you say at the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.